Shut up and sit down.
Hi.
So for those of you who can't tell from that little intro, today we are talking about
Drag queens.
Now, for those of you who know us, you're probably wondering, this is already episode number 3. How have you not talked about them sooner?
Exactly.
And the answer is we do not know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we are definitely getting all of our exciting topics out like quickly because I mean we talked about we're soon to be talking about horror films.
Yeah, we already recorded that one, but it's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
We wanted to do
a theater near you. Not really.
To your computer near you.
Yeah.
We wanted to. Okay, so we're recording this on Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday when we record this, and Drag Race is coming out this Friday. And I thought we had talked about releasing, doing the drag queen episode after the horror one, but I wanted to be able to record before the season 9 premieres so that I can I don't have any preconceived ideas of I still have no really ideas about the queens other than what I've seen on social media.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of why I
Whereas
wanted to do it.
I've done all of my research and watched pretty much everybody.
Right, but I'm saying you haven't seen them on the show yet.
This is true.
So you
we haven't seen the edit.
Right. No, I just mean there is differences between those people in their own environment and those people on Drag Race, and I want to be able to talk about it before we see them on Drag Race.
True.
But
yeah.
So I mean that just leads what we're both excited about is the fact that Drag Race season 9 premieres this Friday, and we've been waiting for it for forever. And yeah, super exciting.
What do you think of the cast?
I'm really excited. I think that it really helps because Caleb and I have you got in Drag Race early last year, right?
I guess we should tell the story first. Okay, so
Caleb used to be scared of drag queens.
Yeah. Drag queens actually, they frightened me a lot.
For a long
I don't know
time.
why. But thinking back, over the period of time of growing up and whatever, but I grew up watching Sister Sister. RuPaul was on there.
He was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah.
I watched that episode a while ago.
Ru was...
Let's be real.
Ru
Mama
ruled
Ru
the 90s.
And he has transcended above just being a drag queen.
Yeah.
It's kind of I don't know. He's just transcended. It doesn't matter. He's been in everything at least once.
Exactly. And so, I knew what drag was. Obviously, growing up in the theater, I knew what drag was, but the whole drag scene, that's actually what kind of I was like, oh my god, they're so scary. And
so
I don't know why they scared me so much.
Spooky.
But actually one of my friends, Trevor, he explained it to me. He's like, well,
is he listening right now?
I don't know, maybe.
Hello, Trevor.
Hello, Miss Flo.
Oh right, I forgot that's your okay.
Yep. And he explained it. He's like, it's these larger than life men dressed as women who are in your face, just completely out of the norm, which that's what drag is. And so when he explained that to me, right, in case you didn't know what drag was,
a person of one gender dressing up as the other gender, and for the purpose of this, it is men dressing up as women. Okay.
And so when he explained that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. But I still was a little standoffish. So last summer,
still scared him.
Yeah. Except for Trev, he didn't scare me. I don't know
Trevor,
why.
he doesn't scare you. Don't scare him.
Sorry. Try harder.
Oh, I thought that it would be a bad thing if he scared you because you were friends. I scared him.
No, I mean
that has
it's
nothing
fine.
to do with how I act or how I dress. It has everything to do with who I am as a person.
Yep.
Oh, guys, good news! I showered today.
Oh my gosh.
Just so you know.
Yeah. You can't smell it, but she showered.
I did. But I did forget my body wash, so I had to wash my body with shampoo.
Goodness.
That's the qualms of living in a dorm. I was already undressed in the shower. I already washed my hair, and I look over and there's no body wash, and I say, "Well,
here we go.
Here's some shampoo."
That is so great. So last summer, I was having a hard time with summer. All of my friends left.
He missed me.
Yeah. And so I was just kind of going through the motions of not really enjoying life. And my friend Lindsay was like, you need to watch Drag Race. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I've heard of it.
Did she say, it's okay, they're on a TV, they can't get you?
No, it was more of like, you just need to watch it. Like, she wasn't really saying anything. She's just like, start on season 4 and like go from there.
And I had seen Drag Race a while ago when it was on Netflix the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, meh, not really into this, but I was also in like freshman year of high school and like had no idea. Like, it's such a thing that you have to like get used to.
Yeah. So literally watched season 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 because 8 had just ended. And All Stars 1, which was awful. I've
never gotten all the way through All Stars
and
1.
Within like a week and a half. Like literally that's all I did.
Quick.
Oh yeah. Like literally just bam 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 bam.
Me.
And then well no, because then I saw the Queens like the
Bots tour.
The Bots tour.
Which is Battle of the Season for those of you who don't watch Drag Race.
And so then after that, I saw Willem. We won't get into that. But then I was like, okay, this whole new world just opened up, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, it's performance art, and I love performance art.
Yeah, for somebody who's like been in theater your whole life.
Exactly, and I think it's like the whole sense of me missing being on a stage and like seeing performances regularly. I found that like drag was that way to kind of like give me that joy of like seeing somebody on a stage performing, doing what they love. And like, I don't know, just having the time of their life. And so then once school came back, I was like, Sarah, you have to watch Drag Race. And so we sat down and
he made me watch season 4. I finished season 4 really fast.
Really fast.
And I've always been really interested in drag. Like, I always said, like, I want to go to a drag club. Like, at the time, I was like, when I turned 21, because I didn't think I could get in. But now we live in a big city, and you can. And so, like, just... And I had kind of known Drag Race was a thing. And I just want to preface this by saying, like, we are not
experts.
Well, we are not experts, obviously, but we are also not just people who are only into drag because of Drag Race. Like, that's kind of what started it, especially for you.
Yeah.
Was, like, what opened your mind to it. But, like, we go to our local drag shows. We, watch different queens on social media. Caleb's a lot more into it. He does a lot more research on it than I do. I'm just kind of like, if I find them, whatever.
Whereas I'm like,
he's
go
like
down a
actively,
YouTube
like,
rabbit
holes.
hole.
Sometimes I won't hear from him for like 2 days, and I'm like, are you okay? And he's like,
just in a drag hole.
So we both love drag, and we both are just, I don't even know where I was going with all this. Guys, I worked last night. I got about 4 hours of sleep, but I did shower, so I also worked out today. I am on it.
You really are. Except for on the whole talking thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of important on a podcast.
Hey, I edit this, so I guess
this is true.
I'm the one that edits. But so today we are going to do our top 5 queens, which will probably be pretty quick. It's essentially like a...
Sure.
We're going to make it pretty quick because we also have a couple of like bigger topics we want to talk about.
I have like 2 pages of notes. It's fine. You didn't tell me like what kind of like rules and guidelines. I have 2 pages of notes.
So we're going to do, this is the same structure, which we already recorded it, but like for you guys, you'll be hearing it later. This is the same kind of structure we did for our horror movie podcast. But that's
and our folklore.
We're doing top 5, but we also didn't do honorable mentions with the urban legend one.
True.
So we're doing our top 5, and that'll be like a quick and dirty, like this is why we like them. And then we have our honorable mentions. I'm going to make yours a quick and dirty. This is why we like them. Otherwise, I will punt you across the room.
No.
The major concern, like, we've gotten, and you guys can, like, for those of you who actually listen, you can
yell at me because I like to talk.
I was just going to say, you can tell us what you think. We've gotten complaints that our episodes have been too long, which we don't think they have been because we listen to more podcasts.
Well, I think part of it is because like college students have the attention span of an ant.
Yeah, and I'm like, you realize you don't have to listen to this
I guess that's a bad
right?
example. I don't know. Probably
like
not.
A goldfish is what
a goldfish.
People say.
Sure. I don't know why I said
I was like,
an
you
ant.
don't have to listen to these consecutively. It'll take me like, I'll listen to a Throwing Shade episode. Plug. And like, it'll take me like a full day to like get through a 45-minute episode because I just like listen to it while I'm walking across campus. Or like,
I listen to it in the car, but I live 40 minutes away. So
Anyway,
You know.
that's just tweet us or email us and tell us if you think it's too long or just right, and we probably won't listen to your input, but we would like to hear from you. So, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
We should play rock, paper, scissors.
We're doing... No, that's
Yes,
stupid.
no, we should.
And we're doing it in...
Because the audience would love that.
Ascending order. So we're starting with our
5,
and then we're going up.
4.
And for me, most of mine are pretty much on the same level. I was just forced to put them in an order.
Yeah.
Anyway, fine. We can play rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
That's 2 out of 3 or just whoever it is?
Just
okay,
one.
ready? Rock, paper, scissors. No,
Oh,
shoot!
sorry!
I've never actually had to have this argument with someone. All right, ready?
So what is it?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. And you go on shoot.
Okay. I've actually never played it this way.
Oh, that's the only way I've ever played it. It's like, do we go on 3 or after 3? Okay, anyway, so rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I win. Okay.
So you get to go first.
Yes, I get to go first. Okay, so again, I want to preface this by saying that, like, most of my top 5 are Ru girls, but only because they're who I follow the most closely, because a lot of the queens I like that are not Ru girls are not as, like, prominent on social media. Like, you can find them, you can follow them, but whatever, but, like, you don't have the interviews, and you don't have, like, all, like, you don't spend a lot of them, like, 10 episodes, 12 episodes with.
Yeah.
So, but trust me, I do like drag other than just Ru girls. And that going, I have my number 5, which is, like I said, most of these are level. I just had to put them in an order. Is not a Ru girl because I took off one of my Ru girls.
Oh, you're following my lead.
It's Brooklyn Heights.
Brooklyn.
And she is a Nashville queen, and she is amazing. Like, I think, honestly, as far as, like, pure drag performances, like lip syncing, she is one of the most incredible drag performers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's so incredible. I would love to see her on Drag Race someday because I think she could, like, take it. But, like, if she doesn't want to do that, cool. Just be here with us forever and don't run away to California.
Please, don't leave.
She's gorgeous. She's got amazing stage presence. Like,
amazing dancer.
Yeah, she's an amazing dancer. Like, all of a sudden she'll just whip out, like, a triple pirouette, and I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, well, the other night she performed in Point.
Yeah.
So,
she is an actual dancer. Like, she is a ballet dancer. And yeah, if you follow her on the Instas, the Instagrams, it's Brooklyn spelled normally, and then she spells Heights
Hytes.
Hytes, because the first time I tried to find her on Instagram, I couldn't find her, and I was like, where is she? I know she exists. But yeah, it's at our local club here in Nashville is Play, which, if you've ever heard Kesha's song Take It Off, is what that's about.
Wait, what?
You didn't know that? You like Kesha more than I do. Yeah,
I didn't
Take
know
It Off
that.
Is about Play.
My mind is Anna's like shaking her head. Our producer is like shaking her head. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It totally makes sense once you hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, because Kesha grew up here.
Yeah.
It's about Play. And Play, I think, is a pretty well-known drag club, like, throughout.
Yeah. They're along the lines with, like, Hard Candy.
Yeah.
So, but Play is here and in Kentucky.
Louisville.
Yep.
Louisville. Anyway, Brooklyn's amazing. She is, if you're ever in Nashville / you live in Nashville now and you've never gone to see her, she is, like, it is worth going and spending the money at Play just to see her, like, 2 performances. Or if you stay the whole night, you can see her do the same performances, like, 6 times.
Exactly.
So, she's amazing. She's incredible. Follow her on Instagram. Go see her at Play. Beautiful, amazing dancer. Is just amazing stage presence. Like, she is not the main host at Play, but she is one of the, like, rotating hosts. And yeah, she's tops. Not actually tops, because she's number 5 on my list, but that's only because I don't know that much about her. Other than that, like, I love to watch her, and I just wish I could watch her all the time.
Which is really funny because, okay, so I did my research. Like, I dove deep into the
I know
depths.
you did. Mine was, like, definitely, like, I don't know. I was just, like, I want to just, like, go with my gut of, like, these are the queens I love, and this is who I'm going to talk about, and this is why. Like, I didn't want to, like...
Well, I initially had my top 5.
We're very different people.
I had my top 5. There was only one person that I kept switching in and out, and because I couldn't figure out why I love them, and then I started watching videos, and I was like, oh, this is why. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
They're
and
on
I think
my list.
that's why... I'm like, okay, so, like, for my Ru girls, like, I've seen one of them. I'm about to see another one. No. Unless that stupid baby comes before
Oh my gosh.
That's what I keep saying. I'm like, you better either come enough before April 2nd or enough
Dear
after.
Sarah's sister,
Please
I apologize.
either push it out now or squeeze those legs closed. That might have to be edited out later. Also, I'm very excited to be an aunt. Anyway, but like I've seen 3 of my 5 already, and I will have seen 4 of my 5, and I could have seen 5 of my 5, but I didn't have the money when she was here last time. Anyway, okay, go.
Okay, so number 5 for me is a London queen, Civil War.
Yes,
she's the 7-foot cross-fitting drag queen.
She's the one that you told me would be like your
my drag aesthetic.
If you were a
It's
drag
total,
queen.
yeah. And
very attractive in and out of drag.
Like
bearded queen.
Yeah, she has a mustache. It's awesome.
Doesn't she have a full beard?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So she's also the mother of the House of War. So there's like
that is
other
an awesome house to be part of.
Yep. So there's
like that's
Civil
almost
War.
as good as Karen from Finance's house.
Yeah. So
there's a drag queen named
Yeah.
Karen from Finance, and she had Anna looked at me like I was crazy, and she had a whole house that was like Charlene from Accounts, Returnable, or like things like that. And I was like, I would move to Australia just to be part of that.
Yeah. So yeah, the House of War. And what I love about his performance or her performances,
you
and
can say he or
she.
Caleb's much more about the he pronouns. I usually just stick with she.
You know, I typically call them by their name. But I love bearded mustached queens. I mean, obviously,
which
that
my
would be
jury is still out on that. I just haven't seen enough.
Yeah,
of them.
you need to. But I love the performances because it just adds a whole new aspect of like what drag is, and obviously it's been around doing bearded queens since forever.
Yeah.
Because back, kind of the more popular drag queens as far as bearded queens, I mean.
Bearded ladies in the circus.
Well,
I'm sorry if that was offensive.
I don't think that counts.
We all know
actually,
those probably weren't women.
Some of them probably were. There are some very hairy ladies out there.
I know.
Anyways,
You're one of them.
I am. But the Cockettes from the 1970s, they are bearded queens who actually performed with the Rolling Stones.
That's really cool, but I didn't know that was a thing, and I didn't know that was a real thing, and that sounds hilarious.
You need to look them up.
Okay.
Other bearded queens that, like, this is kind of like a side tangent of, like, here are some bearded queens you need to check out. Lucy Stool from Chicago. Grace Towers from San Francisco.
I thought you were going to say South Africa, and I was like, awesome.
And Conchita Wurst, who was on Eurovision. She's from Austria.
You mean like Courtney Act?
No.
Okay. I know Courtney Act is Australian.
Oh my gosh.
If you do not already on Instagram follow drag_race_true_facts, please go follow them because they are hilarious. And it's all these ridiculous facts. And one of them the other day was like, fact, Courtney Act is the first like Austrian queen to be on RuPaul's Drag Race.
And it's always like these facts
it's just
supposedly known or like
from Jiggly
Caliente.
She's like the main one they credit with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's these other bearded and mustached queens that I definitely say like go and check them out. They just have this whole new
there were a few bearded queens rumored for season 9. There were 2 or 3. It was like in the very early stages when it was like that whole big list. It wasn't like
But yeah, so anyways, if you want to check out Civil War, I definitely suggest looking up the Wolf performance from Bushwig last year.
Like Hungry Like the Wolf?
No.
Oh.
But it's a Little Red Riding Hood wolf.
That's awesome.
Number, and it's amazing, and her makeup is
Does she wear a headpiece like Cheryl?
No. It's like
only true fans will understand that reference.
So it's like half painted.
Oh, half like the Red Riding and half the wolf. That's awesome.
It's really cool. Anyways,
okay.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is technically a Ru girl, but I don't she's not on my list because of RuPaul. It is the princess who if you watch Drag Race, was on season 4. She only made it to top 11. Okay, here's my thing. I adore her, but she did not put on her best in Drag Race. Because I have seen her here, and then I go back and I watch season 4, and I'm like, oh, princess, you're so much more.
Season 4 was like how many years ago, though?
Yeah, no, I know. And she was still, I mean, but that's the thing, like, she'd been in drag for a while.
Yeah.
So she was originally a Chicago queen, and we're both from Illinois, and we still have yet, our plan, like, the next time we're in Illinois together is to try and go up to Chicago and see a drag show, because there are just amazing queens from Chicago. And
funny enough, 3 of my queens on my list are Chicago queens.
Yeah.
Originally.
Yeah. Like, I mean, just so many. Well, actually, the princess was born in South Africa. Fun fact. We were looking at her.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we were looking at her.
I was like, what?
But she is amazing. And like I said, like, she is technically a Ru girl still. She still goes to a lot of the premieres and to the finales and stuff. But the reason she is on my list is because of what I have seen from her in Nashville. And I don't know what I love so much about her performances, because she's not like a Brooklyn or somebody who's like over the top and like falling into splits and doing handstands and all that. Mm-hmm. But she is just a really good, solid, entertaining performer, and she's such an amazing MC.
Yeah,
like she is the main host of all the shows. She and Deception are like the two kind of like, it's mainly the princess, but Deception does it a lot with her. Mm-hmm. And she's got such a great personality. She just seems to genuinely love like the people who come out to like support them. And one time I gave her money and she booped me with it, and I said tea. But yeah, she's just so good. And like, if you look, her Instagram I think is just the princess. I was gonna write down all these, but I was like, I'll remember, because most of them are just their names. But yeah, again, if you are in Nashville,
the drag princess.
Yeah, the drag princess. And if you see her out of drag, you will be like, that, I cannot reconcile those two things in my brain. But yeah, she's amazing.
Last time we went to go see her, she did a like huge mashup, and it was like Florence and the Machine.
Oh, and that dress. She always has the best clothes. Like that. Yeah. Like, her costumes at play are like top for me.
Yeah.
Like her clothes are top. Like, Brooklyn has some great clothes, but like her clothes are not like the main thing, like her performances. But the princess, like, her clothes are part of the show, and I love it. Her dress that she wore.
Oh, it's amazing.
That was when she booped me. It was during the Florence and the Machine one, I'm pretty sure. I gave her my money and she booped me.
Why don't I remember that?
I don't know. But I do, because she booped me.
I love her so much.
She's amazing. Yeah, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Transitioning back over to the UK.
Oh, goodness.
Lily Savage is a
related
comedy
to
queen.
Ben Savage?
No.
Or what's his brother's name?
I don't remember. Anyways.
Moving on.
So Lily Savage is a comedy queen who premiered in 1978 at the Black Cat Pub in Camden. So she kind of got her start basically on a whim. And kind of started doing shows here and there. Eventually formed a 2-man act called the Playgirls that eventually toured and became LSD, which was Lily, Sandra, and Doris.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
Oh, I'm very sure.
Okay.
And anyways, so she then went on to have like TV specials or like comedy specials on the BBC, as well as the Lucy Savage Show, which was like a 6-part series. And it's absolutely hysterical.
But she was like truly a character, right? Like, it wasn't something that like who was the guy that did her?
Paul O'Grady.
And like, he wasn't like just a drag queen, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like, so like, she was like truly a character that was like, I mean, it's still a drag queen, but like, he wasn't primarily a drag queen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had like comedy specials and TV shows and guest appearances and did radio shows.
A little bit like RuPaul here.
Yeah.
But like RuPaul is a drag queen.
Exactly. And so also hosted Blankety Blank, which is the UK's version of Match Game. And if you go onto YouTube, you can watch like episodes of like the Lily Savage Show. All of her comedy specials are on there. And Blankety Blank is on there. They're absolutely hysterical. And she's just this like old, like, you know, kind of an older body queen, and it's just very classic drag, like, you know, what we think of.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're wanting to check her out, watch the Lily Savage Show. It's on YouTube, or An Evening with Lily Savage, or Live and Outrageous. They're hysterical. I've been like watching them this past week in preparation of this.
Only if you like British humor, though.
This is very true, and because she's from Liverpool originally. Well, Paul is from Liverpool. Some of the things are a little hard to understand, but then like once you understand it,
it's hilarious.
Yeah. So a lot of it there's a little bit of a cultural split.
Yeah. I mean,
but
that just goes along with anything British if you don't like British humor.
Yeah.
Which we love British humor.
Exactly. But she's hysterical, and I originally heard...
But she's not a thing really anymore, right?
No, Paul retired her, it was like 4 years ago or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was like just a performance thing for him, or if he's also gay.
Yeah, so he used the platform back in the 80s to kind of really speak out about HIV and,
during the epidemic.
Yes. Because he made a statement on a talk show once. I think this was
it RuPaul's talk show?
No, it wasn't. But a few years ago, he's like, a large majority of my friends are dead. Like, and it was just, it's one of those like harsh realities that like, thankfully we do have those people who are, kind of, back in the 80s that did kind of stand up and like make awareness and really stand for it.
Right. And we still have people today who are like, we remember this and it's not something that's going to go away. Yeah. If we ignore it.
So, but I actually found out about Lily Savage because my uncle back Thanksgiving time.
Your British uncle?
Yeah. So I have an uncle who is from Wales. And so we were talking drag and because he is like he's a theater director. And he was like, have you ever heard of Lily Savage? And I was like, I know the name, but I don't know really what. And he's like, look her up. She's hysterical. I have a few books on her if you want to read, her, Paul's biographies and whatnot. And so went from there. So like I watched the comedy special that night and I was like, oh my gosh, this is hysterical. So that was my introduction to her. So thanks, Uncle Mark.
Thanks, Uncle Mark.
Next.
Okay, so my number 3, and this is the hard part because it's like these 3 are
who's your second loser and who's your first loser?
No,
okay.
Stop it! I love them all.
I know who it is.
My third is Trixie Mattel.
Oh, I was gonna ask and guess.
Who were you gonna
I was gonna see if I could guess who was 3 and who was 2, but
now you already know.
Yeah.
So you should have known that anyway. Who are you gonna guess first?
Oh, I guess I would have guessed Trixie first. Yeah.
Or Tracy Martell, as she's
Tracy Martell.
better known. Trixie Mattel.
Brian.
Or Brian. Trixie Mattel is. I adore her, and the thing is, she's another one that like. I didn't really like her on Drag Race because she didn't showcase what she actually is on Drag Race.
Yeah.
And she's talked about it a lot and said that she was just in such constant fear that she was going to go home every week. And I think it was really hard for her. And her humor is very classic, like stand up, like quick on your feet, like she's that stand up queen. Whereas like a lot of the humor on Drag Race isn't that classic stand up, other than like the occasional stand-up challenge they'll do, like season 6.
Always bombs.
Except for Bianca Del Rio.
This is true.
Hey.
Or All Stars 2.
Yeah.
Peace!
So Trixie, I think she's just really fascinating because if you listen, and I know we... No, shut up. I know we talk about throwing shade and all those things, but like even if you don't like the show and you're interested in hearing what Trixie has to say on drag, because it's really interesting. Brian and Aaron interviewed her. It's from like early last year sometime, because she recently did another one with Katya, but this was just Trixie, and her ideas about drag are so cool to me. Like she has flat out, like she has said. And a lot of people will look at Trixie and say, that's not drag. And she says, like, I am not portraying a woman. She doesn't consider herself to be, like, a female impersonator. Mm-hmm. Her whole thing is she wanted to be something that was, like, larger than life, and a little bit of a commentary on, like, the unrealistic expectations that, like, Barbie puts on things. And, like, she wanted to be this perfect, like, representation of, like, femininity or whatever without it being actually a woman. And so she doesn't even, like I said, she's like flat out said she doesn't even consider Trixie to be like a woman. And I think that's so fascinating, and I think that she just has some really progressive ideas about drag, especially compared to a lot of the queens. So many queens. The one thing I am sick of hearing on Drag Race is another queen going, that's not drag. And it's like, drag is whatever you want it to be. Like, you do you, boo-boo. And, you know, like, it's just, it's what you want it to be. And we'll get into more of that later. But the other thing I really admire about Trixie is just she used drag as a very positive means to deal with some things in her past, and that, like, she got her name, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but got her name because her stepdad was very verbally abusive and would make fun of him when he was young for being gay and tell him not to be such a Trixie. So when he started doing drag, he took Trixie and made it something positive, and I love that. Also, Trixie has an album coming out soon,
which I'm so excited about.
It is like a country album.
It's going to be a country album. I'm so excited.
And if you have not seen Trixie out of drag, please go look at a picture of Trixie out of drag and in drag, and you will be like, that is not the same person.
Thank you, Providence.
But Trixie was from Milwaukee, but was technically a Chicago queen, because that's where she did all of her work. And she's just, I adore her. And I really admire her concepts about drag. And I really admire that. So
cool.
Okay,
wow.
Your turn.
Speaking of Chicago queens, my next one, if you can't guess, is Shea Coulee.
What?
Who's actually on season 9 of Drag Race, which obviously y'all know if you know anything.
Drag Race. If you know anything.
So but the funny thing is, though, and the next, so Shea and then my top 2, what they all have in common is that they all grew up in Illinois and close to where we live.
Yeah.
So Shea actually grew up in Plainfield, Illinois.
Which is where?
Which is like a southwest suburb of Chicago.
Okay.
I know where it is. I've been there. Like, it's one of those things that I'm like, why do I know that name? And then I look it up. I'm like, oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
Weird. And so she moved to Chicago for college, where she majored in theater costume design.
Okay.
And has just
little Bianca Del Rio
exactly
going on
there. And so
well, I can't wait to see her runway looks.
I know. And so she's always been inspired by like these big fashion looks. She's very editorial. If you go on her website, she has this like little like photo stream, and the looks and the details and just everything about it is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very, very excited.
If you guys go listen or watch Trixie and Katya on Hey Queen on YouTube, mainly just for their look at her because it's hilarious, they did, I think Shea was one of them.
Yeah.
And she said she is the best drag queen I have ever seen, probably. Like, she is just incredible, and apparently her shows are incredible.
Yeah, and so I've watched many performances of hers. But actually, if you want to watch her, she did a short film last year, a couple years ago, something like that, called Lipstick City, and it's on Vimeo. And it is brilliant. Yeah. Like, it's so good.
Is it like a fiction thing, or is
it's just like, it's a short, it's like 10 minutes, and it's fictional, but she's created these characters. Awesome. And there's other Chicago queens in there. Kim Chi's in it. Tranica Rex is in there. But yeah, so if you're wanting to watch her, definitely go to YouTube and watch her 7-Eleven music video that she did. It's a parody of Beyonce's 7-Eleven, and Kim Chi is also in that.
Yay!
Also look up her performance of I'm Legit, which is by Nicki Minaj, and Free Your Mind. They will show you they will blow your mind and free your mind. Anyways, and the rest will follow. Free your mind. Anyways, okay, so
I don't even know that song.
Oh, you would if you heard it.
Probably.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that they. Anyways, but Shea
I don't
is
listen to music anymore. I just listen to podcasts.
I mean, honestly, I listened to music the first time in my car on the way here today, and because one podcast had ended and I didn't have enough time to start another one.
I would listen to my drag queen music while I worked out today. Because
Good.
I was thinking, gotta look like Willem and Violet Chachki. Let's go.
Let's get that 17-inch waist.
Yeah, exactly. That would never happen unless I wanted to die.
But yeah, so anyways, Shea Coulee, I'm so excited to see her on Drag Race. Please check her out on YouTube and check her website out.
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
On the YouTube.
And on the YouTubes. So anyways, yeah, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Yekaterina Petrovna Zamlochkova. But you can call her Katya.
I was gonna say, but your dad just calls me Katya.
No, stop it.
Okay.
Anyway, I adore Katya. She is amazing. If you haven't seen her, she's on season 7 of Drag Race with Trixie, who are the best.
They were the filler queens.
They were the filler queens. But they're one of the literally the whole Kylie and Kendall, name a more iconic duo, just flood the inboxes with the two Bryans, Katya and Trixie. Yeah. And kind of along the lines with Trixie, I really admire Katya because, first of all, he is from Boston and went to college for fine arts, went to a super artsy school, and that was the first time he ever did drag in a short film, which is hilarious. If that's anywhere out there, his first look at drag is hilarious.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, Katya said that she is going to be releasing them, maybe. Good. So I'm hoping that it is. Porn? Oh, I hope not the porn.
Me too. I will not be watching it. I love her, but I will not watch it. Anyway, and he dealt with addiction. He dealt with major depression and anxiety, and I feel like drag was a big outlet for him, and I just really admire that, and I admire using this as this art form to because I think it's so easy when you're in the drag community. We know it. It's so easy to stay in that pattern of addiction. And alcohol, because it's always there and it's always available, and so just having the so it is so easy, and I admire so much. There are so many queens who after Drag Race just go completely sober because they can't do it anymore to keep themselves up. But Katya was addicted to meth and heroin and cocaine and all these really intense crazy things, but looks great, first of all, except for I don't know. You can sometimes it's a little crazy in the eyes, but that's not because of the addiction.
Just always has that look.
And he Katya is just so. There's never been a queen that I've seen who is just so honest about everything they think, and not in a mean way. She just says everything that comes to her mind, and I love it. She's just so crazy. And Trixie always says, you look like a normal human, and I look like I would be the one that, is not an adult, but then we talk, and everybody realizes you are not a normal human being. Yeah. And I love it. And if you haven't seen their show on YouTube, I think it's UHN.
UHN.
It's hilarious. You can just go to the World of Wonder YouTube. It's hilarious. None of it is scripted. They literally are just this is our topic, and then Katya's contact, and Trixie's no. It's hilarious. And
see me with them hands.
Yeah, yes. Because what you see isn't always the truth. But yeah, I just think Katya is so amazing, and it was really and honestly, I've realized that she is creeping up on my number 1, which is if you know who my number 1 is, and you know how
who she's going to meet in a couple weeks, and she's going to cry.
I'm going to cry and pee and maybe throw up
all at the same time. I'm so excited.
But I just think Katya, and and the fact that she is committed so hard to the character of Katya, she has taken.
She's committed
Russian,
so hard that she does not use the Russian accent at all.
But her Russian accent, she's taken dialogue classes just so that even she can have the Russian accent when speaking English, and it's perfect. She speaks almost fluent Russian, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And except for when things don't translate well, and she says Happy Hungry
Games.
Games. But here's my thing: she is the only person on season 2 of All Stars that could have beat Alaska. She's the only person that would have even had a slight chance. And anybody who says otherwise is a liar. Detox may have been in the top 3, but
what about Roxy?
Oh, I mean, obviously, other than Roxy. My name's Roxy Henderson. I'm here to make it clear.
No.
I skipped the ending part of that song.
Yeah.
Anyway, she is the only person that could have even had a slight chance. Like, if Adore had stayed in it, I am still to this day convinced that top 3 would have been Alaska, Katya, and Adore. I mean, we don't know with the whole, like, Relaska Tox situation, but I'm pretty convinced that if Adore had stayed, I think she and Katya would have kind of teamed up.
Probably.
But anyway, so that's my top.
The only other thing, season 2 of just started. Check it out because Katya's look, because she's also tan now, but she's also doing her eye makeup differently.
She is.
And she looks like Sandra Bullock.
Ah, kind of. Yeah, she looks gorgeous.
Because I was watching it the other day and I was like,
all of her wigs
who does she
lately.
look like? Yeah.
Anyway.
But anyway, so my number 2 is Tony Soto, who's also another original Chicago queen.
Yes.
But he grew up in Clinton, Illinois.
I don't know where that is.
It's south of Bloomington.
Oh, I was in Bloomington the other day.
Yeah, like literally like 20 minutes outside of Bloomington. And moved to Chicago for college, started performing there. Worked 12 years in Chicago and moved to LA. So the way that Tony describes Tony Soto is Texas oil money character. Like
Beverly Hillbillies?
Yeah. Not really Beverly Hillbillies, but like very like high refined, like think Dynasty, I guess.
I've never seen Dynasty.
Okay, never
like
mind.
old money?
Yeah. Like pearls and shoulder pads and big hair. I don't know why I said it in that accent.
I don't either.
But yeah, so anyways, but she actually used to go by the name of Xandra Fairlawn, and everyone in Chicago made fun of it. Whereas I like that name as a drag queen.
Is it supposed to be a pun? Because sometimes I'm slow on the puns.
Well, okay, so Tony's middle name is Alexander. So Xandra.
Yeah.
And then she took the whole like how to form your drag name of like use your he used his middle name and then like what street you grew up on. He grew up on Fairlawn. And so everyone didn't like it, so he changed it. He's like, well, if Derek Barry can go by Tony or Derek Barry, then I'm gonna go by Tony.
Yeah.
And
Tony is a gender neutral name though.
That's true. Yeah.
Derek is not.
No.
We don't need to get into that.
Yeah.
I will not put my theory about how Derek Barry looks out of drag on the internet. That is just not something that we see out there.
But yeah, so Tony is absolutely hysterical. Very politically like aware, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And has the Tony Soto show, which Shea Coulee is a guest or co-host on.
Is that a podcast?
It's a podcast. Lucy Wack, Rachel, and Max Esposito. And so every single week they kind of catch up and they have a guest on, every episode. And once Drag Race starts up, we'll also have like a recap as well. So that's always fun. But yeah, I mean, she's hysterical, political. She calls out kind of the youngsters of drag, being like, you need to do your research.
You need to know gay history.
Yeah. Which I think is very, very important.
For sure.
And because I'm still learning and kind of doing my research, but I feel like within less than a year, I've kind of like absorbed so much.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to see her, she doesn't really have very many performances on YouTube. I tweeted at her the other day, and Tony actually sent me 2 separate videos of
That's hilarious.
her performing.
I love that.
So one of them was to it was a Meghan Trainor song. No? Sure. And then the other one was Rise by Katy Perry.
Yes!
Yeah.
That is
but
the only thing that Katya and I disagree on. She does not like Katy Perry. It's very sad to me.
But also Tony co-hosts the Gay Power Half Hour. It's also another podcast.
That rhymes.
Yeah, and then also in the pop electronic band Star.
You're not allowed to say that on this show.
That's the name of their band.
I don't care.
Well,
we're gonna have to, Anna. You're gonna have to teach me how to bleep things.
Anyways, I'm gonna say it again now.
Okay, I will bleep it again.
So she's
Just say it again. I'll self bleep you.
In Star music video.
Wait, no.
Stop interrupting me. I'm gonna have to say it a third
Fine.
time.
You don't have to say it again. They got it.
Okay.
In their music
video. In the end, and there's another queen, Meatball, who is in it.
Meatloaf.
Right, but Meatball is better than Meatloaf. So Meatloaf, God, Meatball was actually on Dragula, which was done by the Boulet brothers. And so they're good friends, and go check out Tony Soto and listen to the Tony Soto show. And yeah. And if you're listening, thank you.
So I was just thinking, maybe you should do your number one first, because my number one is going to segue into one of the other topics that I want to talk about.
Okay.
And you know that I'm going to freak out about my number one, and I'm going to go on. And so we should have had you go first, because I didn't even think about
I mean, that's fine.
Okay, so.
Okay. I have to take a drink first. Okay, so my number one is Sasha Velour.
I did not realize she was going to be your number one.
Yes.
Oh. Another season 9 queen.
Another season 9 queen. And when I found out she was going to be on season 9, I had like a conniption fit.
Did you pee?
A little bit. Good. I was in the bath though, so it's fine. No. No, it's fine.
It's socially acceptable.
Yeah. So I was just sitting and stewing in my own
pee. Did you cry, pee, and throw up like I'm going to when I meet this next queen?
No.
Oh, okay.
I freaked out because I was like, I've been watching her and like kind of stalking her on social media for a while now, and have just absolutely fallen in love with like not only her aesthetic but her backstory and kind of what her aesthetic.
Hashtag aesthetic.
Gross. But just everything that she does is just brilliant in my opinion. But Sasha
is another Chicago queen.
Yes. Sort of. No, she's actually sorry. No.
But you lied to me.
Did I?
Yeah, you said that your top 3 were all Chicago queens originally.
Oh, sorry. No, the thing that they had in common was they're all from Illinois. Sorry.
Oh wait, no, you did say that. Okay, yeah. Never mind.
She grew up in Urbana.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Moved to Vermont for college, then moved to New York, and now performs in Brooklyn.
You can tell she's a New York queen just from her looks.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen her, look her up. It's very much like Trixie, of like.
It's very unique. It's very conceptual. Unique. It's very artsy.
Like,
it's
not
very,
necessarily like she's not like there to necessarily be like, I am a woman. It's a very like.
This is art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because her parents were like total hippies, and I was like, this makes a lot of sense now. But her first drag look and performance was as Nosferatu.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And she's always had like this connection and love for vampires. And
that's why we're talking about vampires.
Yes. And described drag as, and this is a quote from her, vampires are a threat to the way modern society works. They're kind of a ghost of the past world. They carry on values, cultures of the past, and they always tend to be a threat to heterosexual relationships.
Yes, Mama.
They break up couples. They lure men to them in weird ways, or lure women to them in weird ways.
It's true.
And I thought, what a wonderful metaphor for drag as well.
Yes,
we do have
Mama.
a kind of old-fashionedness. We do have a kind of vaguely threatening quality to the stability of heterosexuality. I was like, end quote.
Yes.
Yeah, it's this brilliant way of thinking of drag and kind of connecting it to something that you love and you're passionate about. And also the fact that like drag queens perform at night usually.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Rue girl.
Exactly.
Then you tap dance on carpet like Trixie.
Yeah. So not only is she like really well thought out, again, she's another person who is politically woke.
Stay woke. Hashtag get woke.
Yeah. And she, has started using, her drag as a way of coping and a way of, kind of bringing this awareness that needs to be done. But she actually has her own show up in New York that she puts up once a month called Nightgowns. And she invites, all different kinds of queens to come and perform, whether it be, performance queens, horror queens, look queens, just all these different types of drag, drag kings, bio queens, whatever, to just kind of introduce people to different styles of drag because she thinks it's very important.
So we will never hear Sasha say on Drag Race, that's not drag.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I hope she puts some girls in their place then.
I really do too. And it's been interesting because, like, now knowing that she was on Drag Race. Some of the performances in nightgowns, I'm like, oh, this was really, really brilliant and clever, because she was kind of introducing people to her cast, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, another brilliant thing that she does is Velour, the drag magazine.
Oh.
Yes.
I didn't even know there was a drag magazine.
Yes, and it kind of celebrates the art of drag. Yeah. So it's a celebration of the art of drag through interviews, art, photography, poetry, you name it, whatever. There's 2 issues out right now. And you can get those on the Velour Drag website or drag magazine website. But if you're wanting to watch her, definitely look up on YouTube. She does a performance of Sia's Cellophane, and it's amazing. She also does Hopelessly Devoted to You as Nosferatu.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and what's really clever about the performance is she does the performance as like she's this vampire creature singing Hopelessly Devoted to You as like not wanting to hurt this person, but like she's a vampire, so she has to. And so it's brilliant. And then also watch her Stay With Me, and it's gorgeous, it's brilliant, and I love it.
Is she a singer?
No, but yeah, she's brilliant. She has so many different like performances on YouTube that you just kind of fall down the rabbit hole of watching them. The House of Velour has a performance of Cats, like a Cats medley that they do. It's amazing.
But you hated Cats.
I hate Cats so much, but this is so funny. But yeah, so check it out. She's amazing. I love it. Also, if you're in New York, go see a nightgown show. So what's your number one?
Is it my turn?
Yeah, yes. Sarah's like freaking out. She's jittery. She's about to fall out of her chair.
My number one is Miss Alaska. Alaska Thunder Fun 5000 from the planet Glamtron.
I didn't know if we were saying the entire name.
You kept going, so I kept going.
Okay. I thought you kept going, so I kept going.
Oh, perfect. I love Alaska. So, when I started Drag Race, I have yet to see season 1s, 2s, and 3s.
1s and 2s and 3s.
Because it is hard to find them on the internet, unless you buy them. And so I started on season 4, and Caleb was like, you have to watch it. You're going to love Sharon Needles. I just know it. And I did. I loved Sharon. But he was like, oh, yeah, and Sharon's boyfriend is on season 5. Like, you know, Alaska, she's, like, also great. And so I was like, okay. So I started watching season 5, and I was like, oh, my God, I love her. And I remember texting you and being like, I think I like Alaska better than Sharon.
And I was like,
the
what?
First episode.
How?
Yeah.
No.
And he was like, no, you're not allowed to. And I was like, sorry, I do. Oh, okay. I don't know. Here's the thing. Okay, so
do you have notes that I can read for you? And you just sit there going,
I thought for a while that Katya was starting to take over number 1. And then we were at the hard candy of Trixie Mattel. And the princess comes out and goes, do you want to know who our next hard candy performer is? And everybody's like, yeah. And they're like, it's one of the RuPaul's Drag Race winners. And Caleb and I like reach over the person in between us and like hold hands and we're like, who could it be? And I'm like thinking in my mind, I could not get lucky enough for it to be Alaska. It's got to be somebody else, like Bob or somebody.
But Bob had already been there.
Well, I love Bob, so
2
it's
weeks
not
ago,
like yeah. Like I was
previously.
like, there's no way it's gonna be Alaska. So I was like thinking, okay, is like Raja coming? Like who is it?
Oh, I would die.
I know, but and then the princess says it's Alaska, and I literally, I had no control of my body. I jumped out of my seat and like screamed, and I was like, I didn't mean to react that way, but apparently my love for Alaska has not gone down. And then
I apologize to anyone listening to this with headphones.
Yeah, sorry, you should probably take those out. I'm so excited, and I am supposed to meet her on April 2nd, and that baby better not come and ruin it. And I already told my sister, if I am at the performance and you tell me that the baby's coming, I am staying until I meet Alaska. Please understand this. But I don't know, like, if you ask me what is it about her, I don't know. Like, I can't pinpoint. Like, with Trixie and Katya, I can kind of pinpoint what it is. I don't know exactly what it is.
Okay, I think it's because she's Okay, don't take this the wrong way. She just gave me this look of like,
That's
what are you
like
about to say?
saying no offense.
No, okay.
But
Well, I will say that. No offense. No. Alaska's a weird kid.
Yeah, no, she is.
Total weird kid.
Yeah.
You are a total weird kid.
No, why would I take that the wrong way? You're
I don't
right.
know. So yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And she reaches this like weird part of drag. Like Alaska's never been somebody to be like, oh well, that's not drag, because she comes from the place. I don't remember the name of their club.
I don't remember, in Pittsburgh.
But it was where she and Sharon were from. And it's just weird. And, like, she'd be like, yeah, like, we perform naked on stage. It's whatever. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay, so you just do all the weird things. And, yeah, I adore her. Again, I am saying adore, but this time I mean the most. Can I just sing, I adore you? I don't know the tune at all.
Please.
Sing it again?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
But yeah, Alaska is just so brilliant to me. And this is why I said that we should end on her, because it kind of segues into what another thing we wanted to talk about is that, like, I have this theory that there are only 3 queens that have ever been on Drag Race that could actually be the next RuPaul, and my order from like bottom to like ascending order is like Courtney Act, obviously, because she basically was the Australian RuPaul.
Yeah.
Bianca Del Rio, because she's just so professional and like has been in the business so long and is funny and can, you know, she's doing all these things other than just, you know, performing in clubs now that she's like been a winner. And Alaska. And Alaska is 100% the only person that could completely take over for RuPaul. Yeah. She is RuPaul's protege. I said it weird earlier.
You said it right, yeah.
I keep saying prodigy in my head. I told you that, so, but it's not the same thing. Maybe she was a drag prodigy. I don't know. But the thing, and like you said, they said it on, I haven't listened to the episode, but because I don't really listen to it that often like you do, but they said on Grizzly Kiki, like, Alaska is a drag queen. She eats, sleeps, breathes, like, everything drag, and that is what she does, whereas, like, you have people like Courtney, who's primarily a singer, Bianca, who's primarily, like, a comedian. Yeah. Alaska is a drag queen. Like, everything else she does goes along with her being a drag queen.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is, like, looking back and watching her season, obviously she was
robbed!
She wasn't robbed.
Yes, she was.
I love Jinx.
I don't dislike Jinx, but every time I rewatch a season, I rewatch it a lot, I just see more and more things, and I'm like, Jinx should not have won. Like, I have a conspiracy theory about Drag Race, and I have to tell you this, and I love Drag Race with everything in me, so I don't want to think this is true, but I have a theory that the only reason they let Alaska on in the first place on season 5 was because they wanted the drama of having a previous Caesar salad, previous season's winner's significant other on.
That was a mouthful.
I am convinced she didn't win because they didn't want people to think she only won because Sharon had won before. Yeah. Because she's the only one out of that top 3 that didn't lip sync. Like, she was more talented than Jinx.
True.
So what's your defense?
I liked Jinx.
You can like Jinx without... I like Courtney, but I don't think she should have won season 6.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
He doesn't even know what to say now because he knows I'm right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, All-Stars 2 was designed. Not designed, like the challenges were designed, but everybody went into that as soon as it was announced knowing Alaska would win. Yeah. Even people who were rooting for Katya knew she was going to win.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's funny because, like, I had a lot of friends who were, like, hardcore Katya, and they were, like, not happy with Alaska winning.
Which I don't know why they ever thought that it wouldn't be Alaska.
Yeah.
Because and that's the thing, like I said, go watch, I don't love Hey Queen, but Katya and Trixie's interviews were great. Mm-hmm. And their look at her, and it still pains me to watch the episode of All Stars where she has her tantrum, but also I think it was a combination of, like Katya said, she went in there gold or nothing. It was either you better send me home the first week or you better give me the crown. Like, that was all it was for her. And I think, and they even said in her season, like when she was younger, she used to cry when she didn't get her way. But I also think it was strategy, and I wasn't willing to admit that at first, but I think it was. Definitely. And there was such a tension between her and Katya, like especially in that episode. But now, like Katya said look at her, like she goes, like, we've gotten to be really good friends, and I actually really like her, and like she even admits that, like, it's amazing. Like, even Katya says, like, Alaska is Ru's protege.
Yeah.
And anybody who says otherwise and who thinks it's another queen is lying.
Well, I think it's another thing to think about is if you watch season 5, Alaska has all the components of being the winner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All Stars 2, I think, and here's my reason why I didn't want her to win season 5 is because she wasn't polished enough for me. But then again, you could say that about Jinx. Whatever.
Whatever.
But, when she came back for All Stars 2, she was way more polished. But she also, like, within that little period of time, like, had so much time to kind of, like, hone her skills even more. And she, like we've said, and like a lot of people have said, she has completely encompassed what a drag queen needs to be. Yeah. She needs to be funny. She needs to be cheeky. She needs to be, you know, shady.
At least a drag queen to be at the level of which, like, a lot of these Ru girls think that they're going to be at.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, I definitely think that, like, Courtney has it all. But...
Yeah.
She is not primarily a drag queen. And they even talked about that on the Trixie and Katya interviews. They say that, like, almost drag is almost like Courtney's, I think Trixie said it's not her crutch, it's her broken leg, because she's not, like, she's too fishy, which for those of you who don't know just means feminine, too fishy to be taken seriously by other drag queens as a drag queen, but she's, like, so, like, but in the, like, heterosexual world, people don't take her seriously because they look at her and they say, well, it's still a man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just think Alaska is brilliant, first of all. I think that, like, I think everything she's done has just, like, I almost think it wasn't a fair competition because, no, I'm serious. Like, in the time, first of all, Katya had just come off of season 7 straight into, like, straight into bots, straight into her own tours, doing, like, all that, and then jump straight, like, she didn't have time to just be her. She didn't have time to just work on her as, like, a drag queen. It was all kind of Ru stuff.
Yeah.
But Katya even said the minute Alaska walked into that workroom, she knew she wasn't going to win, and she said that kind of was nice because she got to just be her and she got to do what she wanted to do, and she didn't have to really kill herself trying to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my other things that I wanted to talk about, just because I think it was so interesting to me to hear Katya say that, because we can sit here all day and talk about how we think Alaska could be the next RuPaul and all this, but we aren't the ones that, you know, see behind the scenes. We don't know what she's actually like. We don't know, you know? So yeah, I thought it was really interesting to have Katya, who is a very honest person, and even said, when I think it was in her interview with Brian and Aaron, said, like, ever since she got clean, she does not lie about anything because, and she's just honest, and she knows that, and I don't think most of the Ru girls care about that, because they all have their own things. Like, their goal is not to be the next RuPaul. Yeah. Alaska's is. So.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. I can definitely see her being that next generation's Ru.
And Trixie, or was it Trixie or Katya that even said, like, she is past, present, future drag.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
Like, there are plenty of drag queens that you can say, like, oh, they're the future of drag, but Alaska is now and will still be in 20 years.
Yeah.
Relevant, and, you know, much like Ru. Like, Ru was relevant in the 80s and is still relevant now.
90s, yes.
His new show is going to be about his life in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, that was his starting point. Yeah, in the clubs. Anyways.
But yeah, so that was one of the big things I wanted to talk about, just because, like, we talk about it all the time, and now we've kind of had that, like, solidified by some actual people who know what they're talking about.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it. Anyway, other thing I wanted to talk about was, well, should we do our honorable mentions real quick, and then we can dive into the other thing that I wanted to talk about?
Yes.
How many honorable mentions are you doing?
6.
Okay. I have a feeling some of ours will be the same, so I can just pick from my list if they overlap. Go ahead.
So on my honorable mentions, I want to talk about Mrs. Kasha Davis.
She's also on mine. I love her. You haven't seen the picture of her swinging from the bar and like the rafter in the bar. Please find it and do yourself a favor. It is the best thing ever.
Also, go and watch her YouTube series.
Is it on World of Wonder?
It's on her own personal page.
Okay.
She did like a series of like life with the Davises.
It's always time for a cocktail.
And she's hysterical, and learning like her backstory from Grizzly Kiki was awesome. Like, I just love her story.
He was married to a woman for years.
Yep. And then was like, oh, this isn't
JK,
working out.
like
and then,
dudes.
Yep.
Bye.
And then.
I'm sure that's exactly how it went down.
Totally. Yep. And she's like, this is just very classic, like
I love
old Hollywood type
I love
style.
the old Hollywood thing.
So yeah, Meatball, who we've already talked about, she's a horror queen.
I thought you said horror queen, and I was like, that is mean.
No, horror queen. She was one of the contestants on the Boulet Brothers Dragula.
I still have not finished.
Okay. She's hysterical. She's awesome. Crazy.
One of the bearded queens?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. I also want to mention the Grizzly Kiki girls, Robert and Daniel, because I have without them, I would not know a lot of the stuff that I know about drag and drag queens and just all the fun stuff. They have an amazing podcast called Grizzly Kiki, and they just interview different queens each week, kind of just sit down, talk to them, talk about their where they came from, where they started, what they have plans for the future. They also do a drag race recap, so it's always fun to get drag queens opinions on each week's competition. So they're incredible, so check them out. My next one is Robbie Turner, which I love. She was just recently on Grizzly Kiki, which you need to listen to, Sarah, because I think it'll change your mind.
Okay, when I say I don't like Robbie Turner, it's only because of Drag Race, because I didn't like her on Drag Race.
Yeah, she actually started out as an impersonator, did Lady Gaga for a long time, which is weird. Yeah, and then decided, oh, this is not my thing, and then was like
doing drag,
like Hollywood, like old Hollywood glam. Yeah. And she was like, this is it.
I just don't. I mean, it's probably changed since she was on Drag Race. But when you have people like Mrs. Kasha Davis and like Milk and Jinx who are doing that old Hollywood glam and they're doing it so well, I just don't think she's met that. Or like Ben de la Creme. Ben de la Creme.
Yeah.
That was more so than Milk, because we didn't really see, or not Milk. Sorry, I meant Max, not Milk.
Yeah, I was like, Milk?
Nope, Milk is a club kid.
I love Milk.
We didn't really see a lot of Max's old Hollywood glamour on Drag Race. But I just don't feel like, at least when she was on Drag Race, I don't feel like she was up to that same standard of what we were used to for the old Hollywood glamour from like Bendela and Mrs. Kasha Davis and like that kind of stuff.
Well, I like her. Anyway.
We take our drag queens very seriously.
Another one I want to mention is my friend Miss Flo, which started out as Aunt Flo. Punny names. So I actually was kind of there at the very beginning of and I don't know.
Is he from Peoria?
Yeah.
But he moved to
The
Chicago,
creation. Right? No, Trev's still in Peoria.
I wonder if he did the drag show that they had at Blondie's a few weeks ago.
Probably. I mean, Flo is pretty much everywhere in Peoria.
Let us know, Miss Flo.
I will ask and find out, because I still have yet to see a show from her, and
tell her to come down
every
here.
single time I've told her,
and then she can be on the podcast.
And every single time I bring it up, she's like, "I'm not bringing everything down to Nashville."
She only needs like one thing.
I know.
Two looks.
But yeah, and anytime I'm in town, it's either a drag bingo night or like it's a night where she's not performing, and I don't
Maybe
like bingo. So I'm not gonna.
Well, you're
sorry,
old lady.
I know.
Well, maybe we can get Brandy at Blondie's. Shout out to Blondie's to do a drag show when I'm home for if we go back for my 21st birthday.
We're gonna do a drag show.
Right, and get Miss Flo.
There we go. And then my last one is Vander Von Odd, who was the winner. Oh, well, spoilers for you, Sarah.
Spoilers
was the
for
winner
everyone.
of Dragula.
I was gonna say that name sounds so familiar.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant horror queen, and also kind of it's kind of combined for me of an honorable mention of Dragula. If you love horror, you need to watch it. I mean, it's obviously like it's a self-funded kind of a thing. They got some backing from watchers, but it was a drag competition on YouTube. And
are they doing a season 2?
I really hope so. I would love to see more.
They probably need time to
Yeah,
Get
but
more
it's
funds.
all horror queens.
It is.
And
It's really good.
Oh my gosh! Like some
The
of
only
the
reason I
looks-
haven't finished it is because I work third shift, and that's when I watch everything, and I don't
Yeah.
have the mental capacity to watch new stuff.
Yeah.
They did do a performance of Alaska's Nails, though.
Yes, they did.
Nails.
Nails.
It's very deep lyrics.
Yeah.
Super
really
poetic.
deep. Yep. Move over, Bob Dylan.
You're not wearing nails. You're not doing drag. Except she, in her rule as reigning queen,
Yeah.
sorry, Bob, she has rescinded that.
Yep.
She is. Alaska has spoken. You are now allowed to wear gloves with nails built into them. And if you're caught in, you don't wear anything.
Exactly.
Tiny hands on your fingers.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so Dragula is brilliant. The final, the final floor show was absolutely disgusting.
Die for.
Well, that too. Like, it was so grotesque and it was amazing, but it also kind of creeped me out. And I'm hard to creep out and gross out, and it did. And just brilliant looks throughout the entire season. Fun, horror tropes for the challenges. So if you're a horror fan and if you're a drag fan, watch it.
Okay, so
Dang it.
so I kind of just have like a list, and I didn't really I just kind of was gonna go with whoever. I thought we would have a lot more crossovers. Like I was surprised you
left
didn't say
off
Milk.
a few of them.
Yeah,
Milk was another one. I love Milk.
Okay,
Ugh.
so Bianca
Obsessed.
Del Rio, who is now my best friend because she mentioned me on Twitter. That was a while ago.
Yep.
I had tweeted at one point the whole the top only 3 people could ever be the next RuPaul, and she was on the list, and she retweeted me and was like, "Girl, please," and I was like, "Yes, this means we're best friends." As we can tell, I have boundary issues. I also have a couple of our other Nashville queens. Deception is amazing, and at first I wasn't super on board with her because she's very much an old school queen. She's very classic, and I was like,
Love her.
when you have her following Brooklyn, who's doing a pirouette jump into the splits, it's just but she.
I don't
first
need
of all,
that.
she's
She
a-
comes out and sings does Stevie Nicks, and I'm
she doesn't
fine
like
with
Taylor
that.
Swift though, and you know how that
No,
is for
I like
me.
Taylor Swift too.
But her dresses are always beautiful.
Yep.
And she is a huge advocate for trans rights because she is already fully transitioned. So it's completely transitioned to female. She is female. And I think that's awesome that we have a couple of our queens that have transitioned, and I just think that's really cool on our level, especially with everything happening with the trans bathroom laws and all of that we have those people here. Aurora Sexton is also transitioned. Do you even know who Aurora is?
No, I know her.
Okay, yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Huh.
she just recently.
That's awesome.
I had to make sure that I wasn't saying the wrong queen the other day when I was looking at things because there's also known as Vanity.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not getting those two mixed up. But anyway, so I just think that's awesome. Aurora is definitely a comedy queen. I don't think her comedy is for everyone. She did a hilarious election thing. We went the weekend after the election because we were just we just need to be in an environment like that, and it was hilarious. Other people on my list, Courtney Act, obviously, because she's just kind of perfection.
Which actually surprises me that she's on your. You've gotten to like her
so
more.
much more.
Okay.
And it's because on Drag Race, no, I still think that she's kind of a jerk. But especially knowing she comes from she's from Australia, so just things are different, boundaries are different, humor is different, and getting to see her outside of that and seeing what everybody else, all the other queens that I really have to say about her.
Yeah.
And she's so talented.
Yep.
And no, I always will say if you put her and Adora in a room together and you make them both sing, I'm gonna pick Adora just because I'm not I'm not a musical theater type of person, and that's definitely Courtney's voice.
Yeah.
But she's still so talented. And she built kind of her own empire in Australia, and she does and Wigs by Vanity.
Yep.
And then so this is before the premiere, so who knows? She could go home Friday. But I have become obsessed. I don't think she will, from what I've seen. I have become obsessed with Farrah Moan. She is the cutest little thing I have ever seen in my entire life, in and out of drag. And I love the burlesque like queens, like I'm not like I love, I don't know how much of a fan I am of Violet Chachki as a person, but I love her burlesque things. Like Farrah is so stinking cute, and her look for the like promo shoot was so great, and I'm so excited to see her in action. And who knows, by the time the time I see her in action, I'll be like, I hate you, but you still look awesome. But
so far, I mean, like on social media, I love her.
Yeah,
she's really, really funny.
She started hanging out with like Courtney, Willem, and Alaska. We might have like they might have to add another.
The quadruple A girls.
Yeah, doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I have other ones, but like, I just really I like our Nashville queens. We have really great Nashville queens.
Just name off the rest of the ones that you have.
So, I also had Charity Chase, who is another UK queen. I found her on Instagram. She's doing 100 Days of Drag right now. Her Instagram thing is Internet Chav, Internet and then CHAV. Go
she's
look.
so brilliant.
And her looks are so amazing. She's actually one of the ones I found on my own, even though you were already following her. You didn't point me to her. So brilliant. And then I had Ben de la Creme, who I love because I love that 1940s stuff. Known as Vanity, who's from here. Cynthia Lee Fontaine, who I can't. I'm dying to see if she is who the 14th queen is. Kim Tree, because she's so brilliant. I had Milk just because I love the return of the Club Kid stuff. Yes. I think that's awesome, and I think that Milk was very misunderstood on her season because just the Club Kid version of drag, like, it's just now kind of starting to come back.
Yeah.
And then I had Sabrina Lawrence, who's the neon. I showed you that one.
Yes, you did.
She's the neon queen, and then Miss Fame, because I've just really come to like appreciate Miss Fame for like her brand.
Do you ever do you watch her YouTube videos?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Wait, I saw her
makeup
do
videos.
I saw her do Katya's makeup.
Okay. Watch her like actual tutorials because like she like narrates it while she's doing
she talks all the time, and I love it.
Well, and when she's doing the makeup tutorial, so she's like doing like a voiceover for it, but it's like such a soothing kind of thing.
Love her voice.
And so she's like talking and telling you how to apply.
Okay, and that's another one. Like, talk about old Hollywood glamour. Like, it's not even like she tries; it's just what she exudes.
Yeah,
and she's like gets paid to be like escorts to like S&M parties and clubs and stuff.
That's crazy.
Like, she is married and it's nothing sexual for her, but men, like a lot of straight businessmen, quote unquote straight, will like pay a ton of money for her to dress up as Miss Fame and like escort them to these things. Yeah. Which like
I wonder if they pay her to also make chicken noises.
I hope so. If you listen to me, if any of you are listening and you have paid Miss Fame to be your escort somewhere and you have not paid her extra to do chicken noises, there is something wrong with you.
Yep.
But yeah, I just think I found that out because she was on Shane Dawson's podcast, which I don't listen to a lot, but I will with like when I like the guests. Mm-hmm. And I just have really come to appreciate her as like, because she doesn't want to be a drag queen. She wants to be
a model.
She wants to be a female model, like a fashion. And I just really appreciate her, and she's just so gorgeous, and she's such a dork. And I love that. Like, she is. And
yeah,
she's
she
just
totally
this,
is.
Gorgeous, like, just exudes, like, sexuality. And then is such a dork who makes chicken noises and has a chicken tattoo.
Yep.
So, anyway, that was my list of honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. I know we're running kind of long, but I just wanted to throw this out there really quick. I can't find the article for some reason, and I promise you it exists. But I think it's from like last week sometime, and like everybody on Twitter tweets so many things that like I will have to go back, and I'll post the link when I find it. But Mama Ru herself did an interview talking about how she believes that drag is going to be one of the major parts of the, whatever you want to call it, resistance, rebellion, stand against the current government, just because of what drag is and what it exemplifies and what it has always been. And I think that's amazing, and I totally agree that like drag is something that brings people together, and it should. And especially now that there's so many different queens and there's so many different like accepted forms. There's freaking like faux queens who are women that are doing drag, and I think that's amazing because I think, and I know Trixie Mattel's not going to listen to this, but Trixie, if you are, here's the answer to your question of what draws us little white girls to a almost 30-year-old drag queen. there is something about drag that exudes femininity and respects femininity in a way that actual women never have. And I think that's amazing because you have this one marginalized group who cling to this other, marginalized group, and they wear it with pride, and like actual women are raised to be ashamed of being women, and then these gay men who have been berated their whole lives for being gay walk in and they say, yeah, I'm gonna dress up like a woman and I'm gonna own it and it's gonna be amazing, because I think there's power in being a woman and there's power in femininity, and I think that is so beautiful. And that's part of what has drawn me to drag, is because I think that every little girl should watch Drag Race at some point, just to be shown, like, being a woman is not a bad thing. Being feminine is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Like, owning your body is not a bad thing. And just show them, like, these people who choose to do it and choose to be even more marginalized because they think there's something important to do, like, to that. And I didn't, like, tell Caleb I wanted to say this or anything, but I just want to, like, throw out there, like, we are like allies.
I was like, what?
No, we are like allies, and we want to, like, keep this podcast open to discuss issues and to discuss things. I know a lot of our stuff is funny and, like, all that, but, like, we want to keep it open to discuss issues of, like, feminism. Sorry, I'm getting a little deep right now. But, like, feminism and LGBTQ issues and all that stuff. And if you have anything that you need to talk about, or even, like, just you don't want it on the podcast, but you just want to, like, need anything, like, you have our email address and our Twitter, and it's just, I think it's especially right now so important that those of us who are being affected, and even those of us who, like, aren't necessarily affected, like straight white men, but still have, are sensitive to what's going on. It's so important to be supportive of each other. And I do agree with Rue that, like, drag brings people together in a way that I don't think anything else really does. Yeah. Sorry, I got really deep there. That's weird.
You did.
Oh, okay. So, anything else that you want to say?
No.
Sorry. I didn't intend on getting that deep, but, like, I was like, you know what? We've already kind of opened the door, so.
Yeah, go balls deep or not.
Yeah, you know.
You're going to cut that out.
Yeah. I'm going to cut that out, and Anna's going to have to teach me how to bleep stuff because of you. Anyway. But yeah, so I think that's all.
What? Oh, never mind.
What?
Did we say what we were excited about?
Yeah, we said we were excited for Drag Race.
Okay.
I said what we were both excited for.
Okay. Sure.
So, yeah, that's all for this week. Do you want to say our Instagram and our Twitters?
Yeah, our Instagram and Twitter is at overreachingpod.com.
Yes.
Yes. Overreachingpod.com.edu.
Wow, the first time I give you this and you
sorry,
screw it
you didn't
up.
tell me I was doing this.
I just feel bad because I always talk like
Overreachingpod.
Yes.
And you can email us at overreachingpod@gmail.com.
Yeah. Especially email us or tweet us with suggestions. You can Instagram us with suggestions too, but nobody says that. You can follow us on our personal accounts. I am Caroline Joy on Instagram and Caroline Joy 13 on Twitter.
And I am Caleb Finley on Twitter and Caleb_Finley on Instagram.
And we will be back next week with a spoopy episode for you. Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.